How do, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's the Yorkshire Blazeman here, and it's been a while since the last video. I'm back on the YouTube channel. I took some time off, done a lot of time off, lost swing of it, and then decided I've come back. I've got a new camera, new setup system, so hopefully everything should be working better than it did before. Sorry if you can see my shadow in the background. So I've got new bayonets, got new stuff to review, so hopefully, you know, we can get the channel back up and running and doing well. I'm on 234 subscribers last time I checked, and that's a lot going up since when I stopped making my last video. Was like 10 months ago. I had less than that, so thank you very much for anyone who's been supporting the channel whilst I've been inactive. So I thought today I'm going to do a review of the VZ58 Bayonet. If you're new to my channel, I review bayonets, knives and gear, stuff like that. I mainly focus around bayonets and knives, more solely bayonets now because I'm focusing my collection on that. Also, just if you'd like to see more of my bayonets, follow me on Instagram, Bayonets of the World, and that's me. So, ta. So, right, the Czech VZ58 bayonet. There are many variants of this bayonet. A first gen, a second gen, and each bayonet has been made in different ways to different factories, and they come with two types of scabbard. So this is a first gen NBC, so this is quite a rare one, and I'll go into that later on. So take it out of its scabbard or sheath. So let's go over the spec, shall we? So the blade length is 6.75 inches, so that's 17.1 centimeters. Overall length is 11.125 inches and 28.3 centimeters. And of course, it's got no muzzle ring, so I won't tell you the muzzle ring diameter because it don't have one. So this was used on the Czech 7.62mm VZ58 rifle. Sorry about the cut there. So yeah, it's used for the 7.62 VZ58 rifle. So that basically was the Czech equivalent to the AK-47. During the Cold War, Czechoslovakia was a communist country. It was part of the Warsaw Pact. So, as we all know, when the satellite states of Russia, Poland, Belarus, Hungary, Ukraine, Czechoslovakia, they took on most of the Soviet military equipment. But the Czechs were had more leniency than the rest of the satellite states. They could produce their own guns, changed everything, their military compared, and so did the Romanians. The Romanians had a bit more ease of access. So the VZ58 was basically the Czech version of the AK, and in some ways it was a bit better than the AK, the Soviet AK. So this will classify as an AK bayonet, which I've seen AK bayonets before, it looks nothing like one, but in my opinion, this is a nicer bayonet. It's more of a fighting knife. It's a great throwing knife if you've seen people make videos of it, and I think it just looks way much nicer than the Kalashnikov bayonet. So, more information. So, the VZ58 rifle was manufactured from 1959 to 1984 by Czech Zabrovka. I believe that's right. My Czech is appalling. The first bayonets were made. However, to save money, the manufacturing process was changed, and the steel was casted. So these were casted in massive batches because during this time period, the Czech government didn't have a lot of money, as most communist states didn't during the time. And that's not going to debate about what's better, capitalist or communism, but they didn't have a lot of money under Tito, who was the dictator at the time, and other leaders. However, during this time period, the Czechoslovakia, wanted to trade more with the East, with us, not the East, with the West, with all the NATO countries, because they liked us better, I like to think, or they knew that we were the better trading partners than the Soviets. Right, let's have what more information can I tell you about it. With the press spring in the cross guard of the bayonet, which you see, this is your button release, so you can see that. It eliminated this need of a steel pommel. So this pommel is it's not Bakelite, it's another polymer product which looks like Bakelite or looks like polished wood. They did make variants with wooden handles, different sized cross guards, different styles with different amount of rivets in it. If you'd like to look at those examples, definitely check out worldbayonets.com. Ralph, he's got an amazing list of bayonets. He's a bayonet collector and specialist, and he's just got a shit ton of bayonets and all the information you need, which most of my information was gathered from him and other sources. So if you'd like to look at the other variants, check out his page. He's got a whole page dedicated to the VZ58 bayonet. Yeah, so there's no need of a steel pommel, so they made it all polymer. However, this made the grips break or loosen when soldiers was using the end of the hammer. You wouldn't do it. You can see on this one, it's coming off a bit. The grips have shifted. You know, you wouldn't use it as a hammer originally, but if you've got now else to use, you gotta do what you got, don't you? Early variants, like this one, have a half tang. So the tang is when the blade comes into the handle. This is a half tang, so the blade stops there. Later models, the second gens, had a full tang. They're more available than these ones. These are ones rare because it's the first ones made. So, but you can see it's in nice condition, the metal on this. What else? Yeah, so it says later variants will change to a full tang. Unlike most of the bayonets you would think of, if you think of a bayonet, you think of a steel scabbard, or if you're looking at AK bayonets and now more modern day bayonets like the G3 bayonet, or trying to think, the Setme bayonets, they've been changed to a Bakelite or a plastic polymer. The Czechs issued their bayonets, these VZ58 bayonets, with a leather sheath, similar to this same style, and for their chemical troops and their specialised nuclear troops, this green vinyl scabbard, which I'll get into. So the leather sheaths have come in many variants. You've got marbled leather, you've got smooth leather, and it all depends on, you know, where it was produced, which factory, and all that type of stuff. So, you know, you get a few variants in these, which is quite cool. So you can have like 20, and all of them might be, or you have like a few in there are different to one or the other. So let's go into this special scabbard here. So it's a green vinyl, and it's an NBC scabbard, which is extremely scarce to find. So what does that mean? So NBC stands for nuclear biochemical, that's what it stands for. So what this was used for, this was issued to chemical warfare troops, and all their equipment was this green vinyl, because leather scabbards would deteriorate with nuclear radiation. This was during the times of the Cold War, you've got to remember, where Europe, the world descended into another world war, theoretically, with NATO, so the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, that'd be UK, France, Spain, Portugal, Italy, America, and all those, the Allied countries, against the Soviets and the Warsaw Pact, so Eastern Europe, because the Americans and especially NATO countries were worried that after the Second World War that Russia was going to try and strike the rest of the world, because the rest of Europe was completely destroyed after the Second World War. They had no money, and America had to, under the Truman Doctrine, gave money to capitalist countries to rebuild themselves. And this is why the Korean War happened, the Vietnam War happened, because the Americans and NATO wanted to stop the spread of communism. So the core was a massive threat. Every country was racing to get nuclear weapons, especially the Russians, after America dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan. So they issued their troops, the Czechs, with all their magazine pouches, equipment, was this green vinyl, because it withstood the radiation better than leather did, or any other material, which is quite cool. We've got on here 2 swords in the 76 and 1976-1 on the back. So I'm not sure, I'm guessing it means this was from 1976. Maybe the 1 stands for January, I'm not sure. I've not found any information about that, but it's a flimsy scabbard, but of course it is vinyl. Hangs on your belt on the side, which makes easy access to pull out, or the bayonet to pull out. Cheeky reference there. However, one thing I don't like about it is this frog stud when you're securing the bayonet. It's an absolute bitch to put. It's easy to take off, it's hard to tighten it up again, but once it's in and it's fully secured, it's hard to pull this thing out, which is what you want. You don't want it falling out if you're moving around or crawling on the floor. So let's go into a bit more information on my bayonet, the one I have here. I'll go through it. I've gone through all the information I have about it. So On my left ricasso, on my bayonet, it's stamped 2842K. That's the serial number. I reckon I went on the back 503, so that could be the issue number. One could be the soldier or rifle number, or one could be the issue number. I am not sure. The bayonet is secured by 2 rivets, one on the front, one on the back. As I said, you can get ones with maybe 1 rivet in, 3 riveters in, ones with them exposed, ones with caps on. I believe this is an unissued bayonet. When the Czech government gave these to their soldiers, they didn't come sharpened. They thinking, well, bayonets don't need to be sharp because they're just for stabbing, aren't they? Well, this one was used as a fighting knife and as a bayonet, so you could easily clip on your rifle, but it's a knife bayonet, so you would use it as well for daily tasks and a fighting knife, because this is a pretty comfortable fighting knife. You know, it's secured in my hand in the forward grip and in the back grip. So soldiers had to sharpen this themselves to save the Czech government money in sharpening them when they were being produced. It has a false edge at the top, which you could sharpen down, like a spear point type thing, and then the blade starts a good maybe inch from the crossguard here. You've got a nice fuller, but it is unsharpened. If you look into that, there's no edge. So this makes me believe that this is a unissued bayonet, and to me that makes sense because there was no, the chemical troops saw no action. Big reason why, because there was no cold, there's no nuclear fallout that happened. They won't go into any exposed areas, I do believe, unless at some hidden archive of some that the governments are hiding away from us. But yeah, so look, run my finger right on, smooth as anything. So no edge has been put on this, so that makes me believe that this is unissued, which even makes it a bit more rarer. So stacking up that money in investment. So that's all I can say about this bayonet. So I've gone through the specs, gone through what mine is and about it. And I've got to say overall, it's just a nice, simple knife bayonet. Interesting, different, and a nice piece of Cold War Eastern European history. I don't know where the bayonets were manufactured. They were manufactured in different places because there's no stamp mark indicated where it was made. So yeah, I can't really tell more than that, which is a shame. I'd like to know where it was produced. I'm guessing maybe in the Czech factory where the rifles were made. That'll make sense, but you never know. And I don't think that's one thing that has many information about that. So anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like. Even more extreme than that, subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next video. Goodbye.